Hello students, welcome to the Smart World, the School of Complete Education. Today the topic is Chapter 7 From Shelters to Village Settlements. 7.1 Shelter, 7.2 Seasonal Champs, 7.3 Village Settlements. 7.1 In the fifth lesson, we saw that the Niranthras lived mainly in caves. In fifth lesson alone, we may get some examples of Niranthrals were lived in the cave. Likewise, at that time, the climate in Europe was extremely very cold. We may saw that in the first lesson alone, and the earth was fully covered with cold, and then only they may converted into seas, and then only sorry, it may converted into dust. Likewise, we may saw that. So at that time, the Europe was fully covered with cold. The Niranthrals could protect themselves from freezing temperatures because they wore the leather clothings and made use of fires. Uh, they have to protect themselves from the cold. They use that the fire, fire, and then they use as a leather as their cloths. Perhaps that was not enough. It was not enough to protect themselves as protect themselves from the cold. That is why they used animal hides to erect tents inside the caves for a warmth. They use a this like for they use the animal hides to erect a tent and live inside the caves. So these like they created the caves and lived inside that to create a warm temperature. Okay, wherever necessary, they also built a huts in the open. Uh, there may be some need they have to create it in the open also. 7.2 Seasonal champs. In the Middle Stone Age, groups of Homo sapiens had established champs camps all over the world. They in the Middle Stone Age, Homo sapiens may created the camps all over the world. At that time, the climate was getting a warmer. And that time only the world will getting a warmer. So everywhere the environment was changing. In every places the environment were changing, and and with it the diet of Homo sapiens were also undergoing change, the environmental change, and then only they have to migrate themselves from one place to another, and they have to change themselves according to the environment changes. But the time of Middle Stone Age, big animals like a mammoths were on the way to extinction due to the changing environment. At that time, the Middle Stone Age, the big animals like mammoths were also changing extinction. They also extinction due to the change of environment, and also because they were hunted on a very large scale. They also hunted on a very large scale by the Homo sapiens to get a food of their own. So they have to migrate. Sorry, they have to hunt the animals. That is why Homo sapiens had largely turned to fishing. That's why they have to largely turn to fishing. They also began to demand more on hunting smaller animals like the wild bear, deer. The Homo sapiens may hunted largely the mammoths. That's why they have to turn to fishing, and then only they demanded the smaller animals like a bear, deer, and then mountain goats. Likewise, okay, the mammoths are the ancestors of the mammoth means the ancestor of the elephant. However, he has a much bigger in size compared to the an elephant. So this is a mammoth. It has been compared to the elephant. It has been in bigger size, and this is the ancestor to the elephant. The changed diet pattern enabled the groups of Homo sapiens to roam to faraway regions. They have to created the changes in diet, so they have to migrate from one place to another for getting a different types of foods. They moved their camps to different places according to the seasonal changes. They have to one they have to change from one place to another for their convenience and for their environmental changes. That they harvested a seasonal wild grains and gathered seasonal foods and on the and roots. On that place, they migrate from one place to another according to the seasonal convenience. They have to harvest the foods and grains on that place, and then harvest it. They eat. Likewise, they have to live. They would find out the best seasons for fishing and use the knowledge to their advantage. And they know the best knowledge of fishing and the best knowledge of harvesting likewise, and they have to get the advantage. By observation, they discovered the best hunting grounds. By observation, they discovered the best hunting likewise. For these reasons, they stayed in one place for a longer period. For this convenience, they have to lived in one place for a longer period. They cleared the jungles by felling a trees and set up their seasonal camps in their clearings. They cleared the jungles by felling the trees, and then only they created the camps for their livings. So this is a thing, reconstruction of a seasonal camp, Middle Stone Age. In this Middle Stone Age, they have to live like this. For example, this is a thing we may get in the cave painting. Likewise, this is a paintings which has been get from the Middle Stone Age. Likewise, we get that this is a picture also we may get in the cave painting. Likewise, okay, village settlements. The way of life of humans in this new Stone Age was completely different from that of the humans in the Old Stone Age and Middle Stone Age. The new Stone Age, the life of humans in the new Stone Age were fully differ from the Old Stone Age and the Middle Stone Age. And then during this period, humans become producers of the food grains. Okay, the humans only may produce the foods from the things. Okay, and then only the beginning of a cultivation is the characteristics of the culture of New Stone Age. The beginning of cultivation is the main characteristics of the New Stone Age. They have to cultivate themselves and then they eat. In the hunting and the gathering way of life, it is necessary to keep moving all the time. The hunting and then gathering means they have to move from one place to another compulsorily. But the agriculture makes it possible to store a food and use it over a longer period. In agriculture means we have to store a food in a food for a longer period and live in that place for a longer period alone. So no need to migrate from one place to another for a shorter period along. Likewise, they don't have to migrate from one place to another in a shorter period. Hence, there is a no need to keep moving constantly. Okay, likewise they told. Moreover, the nature of agriculture work made it necessary to stay in a one place. We may get the rice or a food means we have to wait for a 3 months. Likewise, so that's why they have to live in a period for a longer period. Live in a place for a longer period. So only they have choose the agriculture for living in one place for a longer period time. Therefore, people established a permanent village settlements and lived in them generation after generation. So that's why they created the village settlements and live in a one period for a longer period of time. Okay. Now in the next lesson, they have to live in a generation after generation. Likewise, in the next lesson, we may shall review the social organization and the village culture of these village settlements. So exercises. Answer each of the following questions in one sentence. Homo sapiens hunt. Which animals did the Homo sapiens mainly hunt? Mammoths. This is the answer. What is the characteristics of the New Stone Age? The New Stone Age characteristics is that agriculture. Give reason for the following. The diet of Homo sapiens underwent a change. Oh, this will be told by your teacher. And then observe the reconstructed picture of a Middle Stone Age seasonal camp and answer the following. So this is a question we have that your teacher will give the answers, and then write about the effects on your life. Oh, this is the activity we may do yourself. Compare the New Stone Age village with the modern village. Okay, compare this one. And activity, these are some of the activities we may do. Do you know? Okay, do you know the earth is subject to cycles of glacial and interglacial periods? Okay, in the glacial period, most of the earth's surface is covered with the ice sheets and the climate is extremely cold and dry. Okay, the earth subject has been divided into two types, two periods, glacial and interglacial. Okay, the glacial means which is full of covered by the ice sheets and it was fully extremely cold and dry. Okay, the level of water in the seas falls because a lot of it's covered into ice. The level of water will be very less because it was fully covered with the cold only. Okay, and interglacial period is a period between the two glacial periods. During the interglacial period, a large part of the ice on the ground melts. Okay. Uh, interglacial period means it is of two periods. In the interglacial period means a large part of the ice has been melted, and then only the sea level rises. The climate becomes warmer and more humid. Okay, when some regions in the world experience a glacial, Asia and Africa ex- experienced heavy rainfall. On the other hand, when some regions experienced on interglacial, Asia and Africa experience poor rainfall. So likewise, the climate has been changed. When the other parts of the world may get interglacial, the Asia and Africa get a poor rainfall. Likewise, it can be in inverse means they get a heavy rainfall. Likewise, the period has been changed. About 25 lakh years ago, that is in the time of Homo habilis, the climate had started become extremely cold and dry. During the period from 18th lakh to 11,000 years ago, there have been four major cycles of a glacial and interglacial periods. Okay. About 25 lakhs years ago, that is the period of the Homo habilis period. It was a fully cold and dry. During the period of 18th lakh and 11,000 years ago, it was fully described into four major cycles, that means glacial and interglacial periods. This period is also when the history of the human culture from the old stone age to the middle stone age took shape. It only gives the shape to the things. About 11,000 years ago, the last glacial period came to an end and the current interglacial began. Okay, about 11,000 years ago, the last glacial period end and the current interglacial period begins. Okay, the climate started to becomes a warmer and more humid again. The agriculture and the new stone age also began to same likewise. And then only now we are in a warmer and a more humid again. So that's why the agriculture and the new stone age have been began at the same time. Thank you.